how are you doing, podcats? It's Adam Buxton here. On a beautiful morning. Maybe it's even a bit summery. I mean, I appreciate that by 5 o'clock it might be snowing. But it's nice right now. I'm wearing shorts. And I'm here with my best dog friend, Rosie. How you doing, Rosie?
Don't patronise me, please.
Sorry. Hey, thanks to everyone who came out to the Brighton and Margate shows. And indeed, by the time you hear this, the Buxton show. That's where I'm heading tonight. After I record this, I'm going to cycle to the station, get on the train, and head up to Buxton. And then we're in Manchester and Leicester on Monday and Tuesday night. And then that's it for our band commitments for a little while. We play another couple of shows towards the end of June in London at the Hoxton Hall. But it's continued to be great fun. Thanks as well to everyone who came to the chat with Miranda Sawyer at the Charleston Festival in Sussex. Great to meet more of you after all those shows. But right now, let me tell you a bit about podcast number 272. This one features some rambling in front of a live audience with British comedian and friend of the podcast, Bridget Christie. Writer and performer of something like 14 solo live shows over the years. Panel show stalwart, taskmaster genius, creator of the brilliant radio series Mortal, which I really recommend, and the brilliant TV comedy drama The Change, in which Bridget plays a woman going through a midlife crisis. And Bridget was one of the people kind enough to join me back in 2024 when I was doing live podcasts, and she was my guest at Bristol's Beacon Theatre.
But that was 2 years ago. Why has it taken you so long to put this episode out?
Well, Rosie, that's because it was a little complicated to edit. We also had some beautiful live music that night, which I wanted to include, from musician, composer and sound artist Alice Boyd. She played a couple of songs with her band. And I wanted to, get them all nicely mixed and sounding as nice as possible, as nice as they did on the night. But it was quite fiddly, lots of different tracks. I met Alice a while back when she was working on a project I did some voiceovers for, and she sent me some of her music, which I loved. A lot of her work is inspired by ecology, landscapes, wildlife, and our relationship with the environment. And she blends electronics with analog instruments and field recordings and various lovely folky vocals.
Very vocals.
Yeah. And I was so pleased that she was able to come along and be part of one of the live podcasts that we did in 2024.
So now you're blaming Alice for putting this episode out 2 years after it was recorded.
No, I'm not Alice blaming. I'm just saying it needed a little more time than a normal episode would because of all the tracks and mixing. I'm badly organised, okay, Rosie? Is that what you want to hear?
Yes, thank you.
The other factor with the recordings of the live podcast shows, as you probably will have heard me saying before, if you're a regular listener, was that there was a lot of visual stuff on those nights on a big screen. And I had a theme for that tour of kind of crap AI-generated visuals that would pop up now and then.
Oh, you and your AI slop.
Yeah, okay, I probably wouldn't do it now. But back then in the old days, it was still funny to see the wonky images that young AI would generate. And I got it to generate some very odd images of my guests at pivotal moments in their career and their lives, and I would show them throughout the show as kind of jumping off points for bits of chat.
I never found any of that funny.
No, of course not. No one did. Anyway, I showed a few of them to Bridget that night in Bristol, so when necessary, I'll pop back in voiceover form during the conversation to explain what's on the screen.
Wow, this is really cutting-edge podcasting. Putting out live episodes 2 years after you recorded them and then having to explain what the audience was looking at because you refused to join the modern age and film your podcasts like literally everyone else these days.
Oh, thanks, Rosie. I'm glad you appreciate the way I do things. I haven't watched it back yet, but I was on an episode of Ramesh Ranganathan's podcast, which is filmed, and I think that's out now. And I seem to recall spending quite a long time complaining about being filmed on that as well. It's not very good, is it? Get invited on someone's podcast and then just moan about being filmed.
That's certainly what I'd expect from you.
I'll be back at the end with a bit more waffle, possibly from another location entirely. But right now, with Bridget Christie and music from Alice Boyd in front of a live Bristol audience in May 2024, here we go.
I've got a present for you.
Oh?
Do you remember we talked about...
We talked about scents.
And so you can, that's for you, unless you don't want it.
Oh, it's called Lust by Lush. Let me have a smell. Did you smell that I put on some perfume for you?
No, did you?
Yeah, have a little smell.
I don't want to.
Oh, that does
do you
smell
like
nice.
It, though?
I love it.
Because everyone...
Is that what you were wearing when I last saw you?
Yes, I wear it every day. Everyone who smells me says, "What's that?"
Do they recoil when they say it?
No, they like it. Well, I don't think you were excited enough or grateful enough.
I love it, Bridget. Lust. You have given me the gift of lust. And I'm feeling it for you now.
Oh.
Have I gone too far?
It's 2024, Adam.
Is it?
Well, no, it's not anymore. It's 2026 now, and I'm in a hotel room in Manchester. And tonight the Adam Buxton Band are playing a show here at Stoller Hall. Anyway, I wanted to come back and tell you what we were looking at on the screen that night during this next bit of chat. It was an AI-generated image of Bridget jogging through Gloucestershire fields in the early morning sunshine and looking very free, although the primitive AI had made her features look unearthly and bizarre, but she still looked very happy.
Oh, yes, I love that one.
That's you out jogging, which you love to do?
I jog every day.
Every
day.
We
talked about that before, didn't we?
Yeah. And that's kind of how I imagined you running, just with the sun behind you, out wild and free.
I do laugh as well. I laugh.
Yeah.
It's a high.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the weather is either. I don't know what's happened to me. No, in a really positive way. I feel like I've had some kind of enlightenment experience.
Is that the other side of the menopause?
It could be. I don't know. But I feel like someone said something to me the other day, and this sounds like boasting, but I promise you it isn't. But it's the most recent example that I can think of. So, this does sound awful. So I was up for a BAFTA, and I didn't get it. And I kind of knew deep down that I wouldn't. And it didn't matter to me at all. And someone said, I hope you're not too upset. And the idea that I would be felt so alien to me. It felt so unlike me to be
worried about something.
Or worried about
like
something
that.
Yeah.
And that was for The Change, your sitcom, yes?
Yes, it was, yes.
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And you've had a second series commissioned. Congratulations.
Thank God. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brazil.
By Channel 4.
But also, it was my first TV commission was at 50.
Right.
I really feel like, because I had a few journalists when I was doing press for it, they were saying, does it make you angry that you kind of, 10, 11 years ago, you won the Perrier, and yet nothing happened for you in 10 years. But nowadays, someone would have probably been given a commission by now, especially if they were a guy. I just think that things happen to you when they're supposed to happen to you.
Yeah.
Does that sound really like a cop-out?
No, I love it.
I think it does. And I think that we get so het up. I think that in life, like people and jobs and situations like present themselves to you at the exact right time. So I don't think you should be regretful or this doesn't happen or that doesn't happen. And, I think when you're our age, it's like, I'm just grateful to be here, man. Do you know what I mean? People die very young, people get sick. I'm just so grateful every day. And that happened in lockdown, actually.
You died and got sick?
Yeah, I just became really aware of nature and being alive and being well and being grateful and having a positive outlook on things. Not in an unrealistic way, because we've all had terrible things happen to us. We've all got pain and grief and trauma, and it's not plain sailing for anybody. This is what I love coming on shows like this as well, because I think sometimes people can think that people in the public eye or might be seen to be doing well, that our lives were easy and things like just fell into our laps or their life looks great. It really...
I mean, mine sort of did, really.
But it isn't the reality, though. We all have stuff that we're dealing with and have dealt with and doing, but it's just making the best of everything, I think. And I think you can kind of...
We're not in America.
Oh, there's...
You do it. Yeah, go on, clap away. Have your inspirational clap fun.
There's that saying as well. It works both ways. There's a saying, I can't remember exactly what it is because menopause. But there's like you think something enough, and you will start to believe it. And it's like we spend so many years disliking something about us, what we look like, something to do with our personality, regretting things. And you do start to believe that after a while. What if you just flipped it, Not in an arrogant way, like I'm amazing sort of thing, but what if you thought, something, I try really hard to do the right thing, and I'm trying really hard to be like within my parameters as best as I can be, and I try and think about things that I do. If you do that, you will feel better about yourself.
You will find success. If you change the story about your life, you too
push a
will
funny
find
button.
success.
Do a button.
I haven't got a button for that,
you haven't
guy.
got a funny button.
I've got a Hans Zimmer button for when something really exciting and inspirational and emotional happens. You know Hans Zimmer? He does the music for like Dune and things like that.
Yeah.
That's what I play when anything big happens in my life.
It's epic.
Epic is the thing, exactly. Make your life epic. And I love your inspirational words, and I think that's the ideal image that we've got there on the
something?
the screen for
think
that.
epic and sound epic.
I love it. That's the formula for success. Bridget, you yourself are a successful woman, and yet you are single. Currently.
Adam Buxton.
Have I phrased it wrong?
That is the most unacceptable and cowardly way of dumping me I have ever heard. I am, yes.
I'm just going to have a blast of lust.
Have a
right in my face.
He sprayed it in your...
Oh, that's nice, actually. Oh, that is good. Now my whole face is full of the smell of you.
Do you know?
That's good lyrics. Ed Sheeran could do a song with that.
I am single, yes.
Yes, you were married to Ken Dodd, and...
I think am I not a bit like Ken Dodd, do you think? I think I am.
You could be a Diddy woman.
I think I could be like a female version of Ken Dodd, looks-wise. When I was little, I really felt an affinity with him.
Mm-hmm. What did you relate to about Dodd?
I loved him. I loved his hair. I loved his teeth. I loved his eyes. I loved his
tickling stick,
energy and spirit.
Tickling
I
stick.
didn't like the tickling stick.
Why? What's your problem with the tickling stick?
I was suspicious of it.
How did you feel about the Diddy men then, if you didn't like the tickling stick?
They were away from me because he reminded me of Alistair Sim, who I had adored when I was little. I loved Alistair. Ken Dodd is like a mad drawing of Alistair Sim and Alec Guinness. If Alec Guinness and Alistair Sim were walking along the South Bank and one of those cartoon artists
caricaturists
said, I'll draw both of you combined.
Yeah.
You'd probably look like Ken Dodd.
And I'll just give one of you a tickling stick. I was in Liverpool the other day, and there is a statue of Dodd with his tickling stick bringing joy to a woman. There's just a sort of... I mean, that...
What do you mean?
It's not like that. It's a sort of statue of Dodd, and then opposite him is a middle-aged lady with a headscarf. I think I'm remembering this right. And she's just laughing.
and it's just...
I thought you meant a real woman.
No, it's a statue.
Was using the statue.
I don't think the statue... No.
Did you? You thought that, didn't you?
You thought a woman was pleasuring herself on Dodd's statue?
Yes.
No. In Liverpool Lime Street Station.
Well, I don't know. It's Liverpool, isn't it? No, I don't. That is a joke. I love Liverpool.
But no, it was an indication, because I don't think the statue lady opposite the statue of Dodd is herself famous. It's just supposed to illustrate the effect that Dodd would have on people.
Not on a man. Why was it a lady, do you think?
I don't know.
I think that
More
needs to be
easily, please.
unpicked. What did she look like?
Middle-aged, headscarf, glasses. She looked...
From the 50s?
Maybe, yeah.
So when was the statue made?
It looks recent.
Hello, it's me again from the future, as it was then. It turns out the statue I was looking at in Liverpool Lime Street Station is called Chance Meeting. It was created in 2009 by Tom Murphy. The woman depicted in the statue is the councillor and later MP Battling Bessie Braddock. She died in 1970 and was an ardent socialist and fiery campaigner, particularly in the fields of maternity, child welfare and youth crime. Tom Murphy's life-sized bronze statue shows her holding a handbag in one hand and in the other an egg, as she was the politician responsible for getting the Lion Quality Mark of food safety and traceability put on British eggs. So much great info. Thanks, Buckles. You're welcome. Right now, we'll head back to the past, where, very shortly, I will be slightly disparaging about Ken Dodd's teeth in a way that I genuinely regret, and I would like to apologise to the members of the prominent tooth community. Also a heads up for the men with weird hair community. Things are about to get rough.
And I was impressed because I had it in my mind. I don't know much about him, and I thought, surely he's cancelled.
No, Doddy isn't cancelled.
But he's never done anything wrong except brought joy.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, with the poisoned modern mind that I have. I just assume anyone with those teeth and a tickling stick has done some terrible, terrible things. But he hasn't.
The teeth. It's not the teeth. I think there is a correlation between men with weird hair and bad things. Fred West, Jimmy Savile. Well, I'm sure there's more than two.
Men with weird hair.
Gary Glitter. Boris Johnson. We can't have him.
Yeah, definitely Boris Johnson.
The Trump. Is there someone with a mullet? They're back in now, aren't they, mullets? I'm going to get one.
Pat Sharp.
Oh, yeah.
The Darth Vader of the Master Fader. There's nothing wrong with Sharp. But is part of your appreciation of life perhaps to do with your status as a single woman? Are you getting to appreciate things out of a relationship? And what are the things about a relationship that you don't miss?
Wow.
Sorry.
I think it's this. It's not so much about being in a relationship or not being in a relationship. I think that it is reaching a point in your life. I think it may be possibly an age thing, because lots of people do need to be in a relationship to function, for validation, all sorts of different reasons, because they're lonely, blah, blah, blah. I never was like that. I don't think it's because I grew up in a big family, but I never felt lonely. I'm not like a lonely person. I've spent a lot of time by myself. I think it's to do with age, possibly, and just becoming really comfortable with yourself. And that could have happened within a relationship. But I think sometimes when you are you get married and you have kids, I think if you don't keep an eye on it, I was lucky because I have a job that I love, so a lot of my identity is tied up in that. But when that doesn't happen, I think you can lose yourself a little, to the point where you can be unrecognisable. As I say, that didn't happen to me, but it does happen a lot to men and women. And I think it's just, it's not that I'm focused on myself now. I feel, because I don't feel like I am. I think it's just I'm unencumbered.
Yeah.
But that's nothing to do with my previous relationships. That's more to do with I am unencumbered. I'm completely alone. And I may die alone, and I'd be very happy with that.
I'm sure you'll be cumbered one more time.
You're sure I'll be what?
Cumbered.
And is it cumbered?
I don't know.
Or is it encumbered?
I think I've broken the microphone.
Oh yes, you sound really strange. Is there another one?
There is. Back in the room.
Hooray!
Okay.
Was it because you dropped it?
Yep.
Did you drop it on purpose, like doing
I dropped it
a mic drop?
to do a funny mic drop joke, and I broke their microphone, and that'll come out
And
of
that'll
my
be coming
feed
off
tonight.
your.
Yes.
But don't you think that's right, though? I think when you're in something, you have to think. So you have to. There's a lot of thinking, like. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, now that your kids, you have 2 kids, yes?
Yeah.
And now perhaps your life is less governed by the drudgery of the domestic routine. Would that be fair?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Yes, they do their bit. One will be flying the nest quite soon, I would imagine.
How's that going to feel?
17. I'm in 2 minds about it.
Yeah.
It's many, many years of that's what you know. And, when you have kids, you think, what was my life like before? Mm-hmm. My mum always used to say, and like I say, she had 9 children. My mum always used to say, you don't own your children, you just borrow them for a bit and then they're gone. And it's like, God, yeah, you're so right. And it's so fast, isn't it? It goes so quickly.
Yeah, it's nuts.
You don't think it will ever come to an end. Like, it doesn't come to an end, but like that part of it doing everything.
Did you feel that way all the time, or did you sometimes have little moments where you could feel them changing, where you could feel the experience of being a parent of younger children pulling away from you?
I miss them as babies because I love babies so much.
Yeah.
I would have had like 10 babies if I'd started early enough. I think I had my first at 36 and my second at 40. But I would have had, babies are so funny and cute and great and like hard work. But I don't know, I miss them as babies. I miss like holding them and, chucking them around and... them falling asleep on you
Yes.
and all that kind of thing. I think teens is a difficult age. Like, it's not huggy. I'm quite a tactile person, and so I'm quite huggy, and that's
No, they
hard.
don't like it, the teens.
No.
They're anti all that. Right now, I would like to reintroduce our musical friends tonight. Please, folks, make Alice Boyd feel very welcome when she comes back with Daisy and Jacob. So Alice, you were going to play us some recordings, is that right? Because you do a lot of sound recording as part of your job,
yeah,
yes?
I do a lot of field recording, so I get weird microphones, and the recordings I'm going to share today are from underneath the surface of a pond. So I used a hydrophone, which is an underwater microphone, to get these different sounds. And the first time I heard it, it completely blew my mind, because they're very weird sounds, and you wouldn't expect that to be under a serene pond.
And it's not the sound of the mic breaking. I know about mics breaking, and...
Oh, no, I haven't done that one yet. But
Okay.
maybe next time I go recording. Jacob, would you like to play some guitar? So the first sound I'm going to play is the sound of insects stridulating. So these are water boatmen.
That's the sound of the little skiddy guys.
That's the water boatmen. And next up, this is the sound of aquatic plants photosynthesizing. Which which I think sounds like a weird synthesizer almost.
Why do they make that sound when they're photosynthesizing?
So it's the tiny bubbles of air leaving the stomata, which is the holes in the leaves of the plants. And so they're going very quickly and releasing these sounds.
Yeah.
And then the next sound is a tadpole munching on the microphone. And I couldn't believe it because when I looked down at the hydrophone, I could just see it nibbling away. And the final sound I'm going to share with you are some toads in a pond in Kent. And it's during mating season.
That sounds like my stomach.
I don't know what that is.
I've got an idea.
Anyway, those are my sounds.
Very nice. Thank you, Alice. That was like... and I mean this in the absolute best possible way. That was like a kind of kids show from the early 70s. With Jacob playing some beautiful pastoral guitar as well. I loved it. Are you going to sing us a song, though, Alice, to take us into the interval?
Yes, this is Life in Cities.
Alice Boyd. That's called Life in Cities. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Daisy. I love that. Thank you so much. Before we bring Bridget back, I'm going to reintroduce you to Frank, my son. Hey. Here we go. This is a new arrangement of halfway through the podcast. We're halfway through the podcast. I think it's going really great. The conversation's flowing like it would between a geezer and his mate.
All right, mate.
Hello, geezer. I'm pleased to see you.
Ooh, there's so much chemistry. It's like a science lab of talking. There's fun chat and there's deep chat. It's like Chris Evans is meeting Stephen Hawking.
Put it to bed. Yay! Lovely work, Frankie. Thank you so much. And let's get Bridget back. Now, look, before we go any further, we've got some audience questions coming our way in this section.
Ooh.
Amy Beardmore says, I'm a university lecturer, and we are currently tying ourselves up in knots about AI, completely devaluing academia. What are your thoughts on the AI beast? Can she be tamed? She's gendered the beast. Or should we all just give up and go home? Have you spent any time being anxious about AI, Bridget?
I haven't, because I think that, and this is kind of part of my enlightenment, was that I realised that it's much easier to be happy if you don't think about anything. I've zoned out, man. Like, I don't know anything about. I'm like, yeah, it's probably be all right. I used to be so angry about stuff. Like, even just 10 years ago, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so bad for this and that and this and that. And
yeah.
I totally reject it, and I'm going to do a show about it, and I'm going to campaign, and no, this is wrong and wrong. And now I'm like, well, probably be all right. Anyway, what are we having for supper?
Yeah. I guess you go through phases, don't you, of moving in and out of a certain kind of engagement with the rest of the world.
Yes.
But non-stop engagement is unsustainable.
It's unsustainable.
Especially these days. You know what I mean? You have to have a bit of a break. Take like 3 months off or whatever.
It's rolling news. Apparently, lockdown. Well, so apparently, our brains are not evolving at the same time as technology, and they're not. So we can't process the amount of stuff that we're being given to process. So we don't process it properly. And like we don't read in the same way. We like skim, like everything. Like even our hands, aren't our hands changing? Our thumbs are changing.
The thing I always remember is when it comes to technology, when the BlackBerry was a big thing.
Yeah.
Do you remember people used to get their fingers surgically whittled so that they would be better at using the small keys on the BlackBerry?
No.
This is true. Is
it really?
Yep.
No.
Yeah, because people absolutely loved the BlackBerry back in those days. It's hard to remember, but this was pre the global dominance of Apple. But BlackBerry was the piece of technology for everyone to have before the iPhone became the thing. And they had all those tiny little keys. So if you were...
It was so small.
It was so small. So people got their thumbs whittled. Because, the thumb is ungainly and imprecise. And then, as soon as they healed over from being whittled, Steve Jobs comes out and waves the iPhone at everyone, and they're like, shit! Whittled my thumbs! But that's still useful, though, whittled thumbs. All right, here's a big question for you from Rob Breyer. B-R-Y-H-E-R. Would you say Breyer?
B-R-Y-H-E-R.
Breyer.
Briar.
Briar.
You wouldn't say the H probably.
Rob, is it Briar? Yes, Briar. Yeah. It's fucking Briar.
Do you think he's been asked that before?
Yeah. He sounded just then the same way that Paul Weller sounded when I asked him if anyone had ever said to him, does anyone ever say, Paul Weller, 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 ooh, tell me more, tell me more.
Was it face to face?
Face to face on Radio 2, live, with Lisa Tarbuck over in the other corner of the studio going... Sorry, I pressed both the Zimmer buttons.
Is that what Lisa Tarbuck did? That?
She went like, she didn't press the Hans Zimmer button. But she may as well have done, because she was just like, oh, God. Anyway, listen, Rob Bryce's question.
Yes.
This is a big question, too. What will be the first line of your obituary? But then he puts wrong answers only. Rob.
Of yours?
Well, either one of us. I'm interested in yours. I guess mine will, depending on when I exit the party, if it was sometime in the next few years, it's probably going to be podcaster Adam Buxton at best.
So this is that someone else writes, yeah? Adam Buxton guest, Bridget Christie.
That's so nice of you. This is from Steve, from Bristol, Telford, and Norwich. Steve says, I've just had a baby. I bet it wasn't you, was it, Steve? So can I get your best nugget of parenting advice? Good one.
My God, I love questions like this. You do yours first.
Oh, geez. Best nugget. You're asking the wrong guy.
Why?
Where's Frankie?
Why is your...
I don't know, because it's a work in progress. You never know.
That's the best answer, though.
It's never done, is it? That's the thing that I like about the film Parenthood with Steve Martin, is that it makes it clear that the race is never over. There's never a winning line. There's never a point at which you go, smashed it.
It just changes.
It changes constantly and you adjust to it.
Can I ask Frankie some questions? When you think about your childhood...
Does he have to pay for this?
Do you need therapy? Or are you happy?
I'm happy.
Do you have little pockets of great memories?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good overall. Yeah, you've done well.
Thanks, Frank.
Yeah.
He's privileged as fuck. I would hope that there would be some happy moments, considering the investment that we've made.
When you have a first baby especially, you're really worried about kind of dropping them or breaking them or something like that. And I remember with my first, the health visitor or the midwife saying, because I was really scared I was going to knock its... they put a clip on the cord, when I was like, oh, what if I knock it and its guts come out? And they were like, that's not going to happen. You could swing a baby round by the umbilical cord and it would be okay. And it was. But the thing is that babies are so, robust and solid. That one was flinging itself around.
Yeah.
And I remember when my son was born, and I went round to my friend's house, and they had kids that were a little bit older. Mm. And the kids were jumping off wardrobes, and I was shitting myself. But they were all fine. And my friends were just watching them like that. And I was like, don't you care? But obviously they knew that they would be fine. Actually, having said that, I was always in hospital with my kids because they were always hurting themselves. But don't worry about it. The babies are much more robust than we think they are. My sister, so I'm the youngest of 9.
Yes.
My sister saw me from a kitchen window, I don't know how I did this, as a baby, fall out of my pram onto my face, onto the concrete in the garden. And my nose, because it's just there's no bone at that.
No
It
cartilage, yeah.
went into my face and then just popped out again. She was like, your nose just like disappeared and then came back out. Isn't that so weird? Isn't it though?
Yeah. Having said all this, you do have to be careful with babies. On the whole, you really should be very gentle with them.
Yeah, be careful, like, don't swing it around or anything like that.
Bridget, one more question for you. This is from Dee from Newport. Bridget, I loved you on Ghosts as Annie and was very sad when you got sucked off. What is that?
Is that the question?
No, well, she says, we also loved you on Taskmaster. What's been your favourite project that you have been a guest on?
Oh, a guest on?
Yeah.
Adam Buxton's podcast. Yeah.
There we go,
I thank you. Well, Taskmaster is very different because obviously this is the best.
Sure.
But you're allowed to be yourself on Taskmaster, as you are here as well. Obviously, everything is prefaced with that. And once you know that, you can just kind of relax. So I think Taskmaster is such an interesting show to do because they kind of say to you, you've been booked because you're you, so we don't want you to be kind of something else.
Yeah, you don't have to be show busy.
No, and that's kind of really freeing. And then the way that you film it is you do all your tasks with Alex first, and then so it's like quite an intensive. Often with filming or something, you just have a little bit of time, don't you? Or if you're on a panel show or something like that, or a guest in someone else's, it's not like really intensive quality time, but you do get that on Taskmaster, and then there's a massive gap where they edit it all together, and then you're in the studio and you watch it back.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so so I think I did my tasks in like May, and then we were in the studio in the autumn or something like that. So loads of time elapses between those two things, and you can't remember what you've done or anything about it, and so you're like, what was that?
How long do the tasks take to film?
Well, it depends on the task. Some things took me ages. No, like I was there for days. No, yeah, it just depends on the task. But the whole crew and the whole... You've done it?
No. NFI.
That's so strange.
Isn't it strange?
We should text them now.
There's been texting. There's all sorts of text. Shall we have a little bit more music now? I would love to get Alice and Jacob and Daisy back on stage for one more bit of beautiful music on this Friday night here in Bristol. And what are you going to leave us with tonight?
So this song is called The Favourite, and I co-wrote and produced and co-released it with Jacob here. Jacob, do you have anything you want to say about the song?
I just wanted to say, Bridget, you don't need to feel ashamed of your web toes.
Your web toes.
My web toes.
Because Jacob's got some webbing going on as well.
We've both
There's a lot of... It's a silent crowd of web toes people.
We've both got exactly the same web toes. You should be much more interested in that. I'm sorry.
I reckon one person has web toes and they're just not...
In here, I think there's more than one, don't you? I mean, what are the chances?
There
There,
you go.
look, loads.
Are you serious?
At least two. Is it the second and third toes on the right foot?
That's right.
Oh my God!
I told you.
You're all related.
It's always the same toes on the same foot.
Yep.
Are either of you from Gloucester? No. Okay. Right.
But this song has nothing to do with...
This one. So this one's going out to the web community.
Yeah. This is The Favourite.
Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Jacob. Thank you, Daisy.
This is an advert for Squarespace. Welcome to the finale of Web Games with me, Jimmy Website. After 9 stupid weeks, we're down to just 2 contestants fighting to build their own website. The winner will be the one who loses the least amount of the world's most valuable commodities: time and patience. The websites must look professional and be easy to maintain. How's it going, Abby?
Pretty good, Jimmy. I'm using Squarespace to build my website, because you can do a free trial there and experiment with a wide variety of great-looking templates, into which you can easily add text, pictures, and videos.
How about you, Mike?
I'm not using Squarespace. I'm trying to set up an online store, and it's making me sad.
Oh, Mike, you're losing so much time. Your life is slipping away, dude. Brutal.
I've just finished my free trial, and I love my Squarespace website, so I'm gonna buy it. Oh, I'm being asked if I have an offer code. I'm gonna type in Buxton. I just saved 10% on my new Squarespace website with the offer code Buxton!
I just tore the last of my hair out.
Oh, sorry, Mike. You are a loser, and now you're gonna be dropped through the floor onto a mat, not far beneath the floor. You should have gone to squarespace.com/Buxton, you loser.
Don't worry, Mike. You still can.
Thank you.
Wait. Continue. Hey, welcome back, Podcats. That was Alice Boyd and her band there, playing us out back in May 2024. Thank you so much to Bridget Christie for being my guest that night. As you can hear, I have left my hotel room. I'm on my way to the Stoller Hall, Manchester, where tonight the Adam Buxton Band will play another show. Tracks from Buckle Up, a couple of covers, some great bands, and then signing and creepy hugs afterwards. And then we're in Leicester tomorrow night, and then that's it for a while, but we have a couple of shows in London towards the end of June 23rd and 24th at the Hoxton Hall. There's a link in the description. There's also links to a few more bits and pieces by Alice Boyd, a beautiful song that she did for the RSPB about the return of the white-tailed eagle. And there's a video of her playing live in Warsaw supporting Jan Tiersen. She's working on her debut album at the moment, inspired by the BBC Radio 4 documentary that she made called Shifting Soundscapes. See if I can put a link to that in there as well. Now, I'm sitting just outside the Malmaison Hotel in the centre of Manchester, just down the road from Piccadilly Station, opposite the Sainsbury's local. And if you've read my book, I Love You, Bye, then you will know that this was the scene of not one, but 2 shameful, drug-related moments from my filthy past. I won't tell you the whole anecdote. Suffice to say that it ended with me passing out and coming round to find myself in the lap of Sean Locke. He was looking down in a very kindly way, it must be said. And then he spent the next hour or so making sure I was okay. Anyway, that's what happened at the end. You'll have to read the book to find out the build-up. I've cleaned up my act since then. Now, also in the description today, there are links to various other bits and pieces. There's the live event with Mawan Rizwan. That doesn't happen until the 5th of August 2026. But get in there early. It's at the Roundhouse. I'll be doing a live podcast with Mawan, brilliant comedian, performer, BAFTA award-winning sitcom creator. Also, don't forget the Bug Bowie special that I am going to be doing at the Light Room in King's Cross. The June date for that has sold out, but there's still tickets left for 2nd, 3rd and 4th of July this year, 2026. And I realized that I never told you how I got on at the opening night of the new Bowie film that's been made specially for the Lightroom, You Are Not Alone. It's a critical and commercial smash. They're having to extend their evenings to accommodate all the people that want to go and see that. If you haven't been to the Lightroom before, I'll explain to you what it is. It uses state-of-the-art projection mapping to transform a huge cube-shaped auditorium space into something a little like the holodeck on Star Trek Next Generation, if you're a Trekker. So sometimes being in that space feels like you're in an immersive 360-degree cinema space, surround space. Then suddenly it'll transform into something that's more like the interior of a gallery or like a kind of moving museum, or it can put you in the center of a moonscape or a Jurassic forest. I mean, anywhere, obviously, depending on what's being projected, but it's so brilliantly and cleverly done, all with amazing bone-shaking sound. And in the case of You Are Not Alone, you've got voiceover from David, from hundreds of hours of interviews, talking about his approach to music and creativity throughout his career. In between moments of interviews, music videos, live performances, some of which have been re-edited in the case of the Ziggy Stardust farewell show in Hammersmith. You know, Pennebaker's Spiders from Mars movie. There's bits of previously unseen concert footage from Earl's Court in 1978, the 1976 Isolar tour, and it's really very overwhelming when you see them on these huge screens with footage of the band and the crowd at those concerts surrounding you on all sides. It's amazing. Sensory overload in a great way. And the film itself is just over an hour long, but it plays on a loop like all the Lightroom shows. So you book a time slot and then you go in there and treat it kind of like a gallery. They've got places you can sit, you can sort of lounge around on the floor or stand or do what you like really in that space until the moment you came in comes back around again, and then you can either bugger off or stay for a bit more. There's not really a beginning and an end, in other words, to the film. That's not how my Bug Bowie show will work, incidentally. I won't be standing there all day repeating myself on a loop. That's what I do in real life. I'll be performing the show, which is more like 2 hours, I think, with an interval, just once on each of the days that I'm doing it. And it's going to be, if you've seen the Bug Bowie special before, this will be it'll be more or less what you have seen, but it'll be slightly enhanced with extra bits of animation. If you haven't seen the Bug Bowie show before, what the absolute F have you done with your life? Please come along, put that right. I'm fairly certain it'll be one of the greatest nights of your life, especially if you include all the nights of your life in that list. Okay, that's it for this week. I've got to go and sound check. I'm in a band. Thanks to everyone at the Beacon Theatre back in 2024 who made us feel so welcome that night. Thanks to Crosstown Promotions and the live podcast crew, especially Richard Walsh, Mike Thompson, Ben Saunders, Annalisa Lembo, and Seamus Murphy-Mitchell. Thanks to Helen Green, she does the artwork for this podcast. Thanks to all at Acast. But most of all, thanks very much to you. Sorry it's so noisy out here. Let's have a creepy hug anyway, yeah? Come here, hey. How's it going? Good to see you. Alright, now I'm not going to shout because I'm too shy. But until the next time we share the same sonic space, will you please go carefully? And if it makes any difference, I do love you. Bye.
Rosie, should we go for a walk? Rosie?
Hey, good response from the top of the house. Boom, dog. Come on, let's go for a walk.
I added one more podcast to the giant podcast bin. Now you have plucked that podcast out and started listening. I took my microphone and found some human folk. Then I recorded all the noises while we spoke. My name is Adam Buxton, I'm a man. I want you to enjoy this, that's the plan. I made mistakes today. Will I ever learn the lessons that all come my way?
She's looking at me like, what the bloody hell are you doing?
Rose, come on, we're going to go for a walk. Do you not want to go? I'm carrying a small Bluetooth speaker because I'm going to call my guest to help me with this week's introduction. And I was just playing a bit of music on the speaker and singing along with it. Still I Dream of It by the Beach Boys. But now she is just standing on the track, staring at me like, why were you singing that song? Why have you got that speaker? Is this not a normal walk? It is a normal walk. Come on, Rose. Rosie, come on. Look, the sun's come out and everything. I think she's buggered off back to the house. Blimey. Everyone's in a bad mood. Week 6 of the lockdown, and the atmosphere back at Castle Buckles, especially among the teenage boy community, has recently been a little tense. Okay, what are we doing here? I am calling Louis. Let's try FaceTime audio. Connect to a Wi-Fi network to use FaceTime. You fucking idiot. Wow, that's a very rude alert. Sorry about that, listeners. Okay, just a regular call then.
Yo.
Hey, Lou, how you doing?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm all right, man.
Should I be answering this on my computer or not? No.
No, it's not actually a FaceTime call. I forgot that you can't make FaceTime calls outside. You need a internet connection. And I'm outside on my walk with Rosie. Although Rosie has gone back home because she senses that something's up and it's not a normal walk because I'm calling you and I've got like a little Bluetooth speaker with me. So she's acting all like, fuck this, I'm going home.
She sort of knows you at a subatomic level. She's like, yeah, this isn't what I signed on for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to read out my introduction that I've written, and you can just give me any comments or corrections that suggest themselves.
Like,
I often describe you as journalist and documentarian. That's my shorthand description for you. Are you happy with that?
That's fine. I don't really like that word. Americans use the word documentarian.
Okay.
And I just think it's kind of an ugly word. I don't know why.
Whoa. What are you having then?
Journalist and documentary presenter.
Okay, I'll say journalist, documentary presenter and podcaster Louis Theroux.
Good.
When the lockdown started, I sent out microphones to a few people I knew that I wanted to have on the podcast, and Louis was one of them. But as you will hear, rather than spending all his time talking with me, he's been carrying on with his own set of fascinating celebrity guests for a Radio 4 show / podcast called Grounded.
Yes, correct.
I listened to the first episode the other day with John Ronson. Really enjoyed it. But couldn't help noticing that you described the microphone that I sent you, which you were recording on, as dodgy.
Gee, I retract that. It's not a dodgy microphone, it's an excellent microphone.
It's the Yeti Blue. It's
beautiful. Like, I don't know why I said that. I feel like I've been caught with my pants down. And
yeah, well, good, because as listeners will hear in the first part of our conversation, you lord it all over me with your #1 podcast recorded on the microphone I sent you. So a bit of pants down action is good.
I apologise.
That's all right. We recorded this conversation exactly a week ago, and I was feeling quite ill that day. I hadn't slept very well. I took a pill halfway through the conversation, and then I felt a lot better. But it was a fun chat. Were there any bits in there that you were worried about?
I think I was mainly worried that I might be seen to... We were joking about being glib, and then it kind of of enacting glibness, ironically, but I worried that could be construed as real glibness. That was, I think, perhaps the main one. I think I also was a tiny bit concerned I might have thrown my dad under the bus by talking about his lack of compassion for students or gap year kids who would solicit funds for their travels from him.
Oh,
There's probably other things that I said that were pretty knob-like.
I think it was fine. And
don't say I think it was fine. Say it's definitely fine.
It's definitely fine. You don't need to worry. Also, I mean, you to a certain degree, like, unless people really think that we're awful, you have to kind of assume that we are somewhat aware and sensitive to the situation that many people find themselves in the current crisis. We're not totally...
It's too exhausting to worry about everything, but the danger is that when I'm talking to you, it's just like we're talking as friends. And so I let my guard down. I'm less restrained than I would be in another context.
Right.
You know, doing a different kind of appearance. And so, for good or ill, the real me has a danger of coming out. That could be good, and then sometimes it's, oh yeah, he's a bit of a twat.
No, I think it was fine. I think it was good. Well, speaking of being a bit of a twat, I was uncharacteristically rude and childish about a well-respected art film. Normally I like to think of myself as a bit of an aesthete and open-minded and adventurous, but as soon as the subject of this art film came up that I'd seen years ago, I just went on and on about how boring it was, and I sort of felt bad about it.
I think you were fine. What did you feel bad about that?
Yeah, I just thought, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. You kept that in?
I have kept that in. We talked about lockdown life a little bit, not too much, I hope, and whether there are worthwhile things to be taken away from the whole experience. I don't suppose anyone else in the world has covered that. We talked about the fact that you spent some time with Joe Exotic, which I think you've talked in other places about a little bit, but I was interested to hear about your experiences with him and some of the other people who turn up in that Netflix doc, Tiger King. And by the way, for people who are sensitive to spoilers, towards the end of my conversation with Louis about Joe Exotic, there is a possible Tiger King documentary spoiler, so be warned. We also talked about the Beatles, and that was sort of it. Who's your next guest on your podcast, can you say?
The next one is Boy George.
Oh, yeah,
so
great.
It was a good one. He's good value.
Yeah, great. Okay, thanks a lot, Lou.
Thanks, Ed. I look forward to listening to it. Take care. Look after yourself.
Same to you. Speak to you soon.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
1212.
You sound good.
Thank you for sending the mic, by the way.
Oh, not at all. Has it been useful?
Yeah, really useful. I've been getting a lot of use out of it.
Oh, that's great. Have you started doing your own podcast?
Yes, I have. I've recorded 5 or 6 now.
Wow. Who have you done?
Just to keep busy. I've done Boy George.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, Lenny Henry.
How was that?
Good. They've all been good in different ways, all very different. Miriam Margolyes, Gail Porter.
Oh, yeah.
John Ronson.
How was Boy George?
Very fun. And I just reached out to him on Twitter. He follows me. And he got straight back to me and said, oh, yeah, sure, go through my publicist. Here are her details. And so we spoke for 2 or 3 hours. And it was, for me, it was just a little bit of a nostalgia fest fanboy thing. He, as you know, came up through the punk scene, through the Blitz Kids. Have you ever interviewed him?
No, I met him once ages ago with Joe when we were doing a weird thing on TV. And he seemed nice.
He struck me as very funny, sort of pathologically honest. But also that he was, if you've read his first volume of memoirs, he was just a kid growing up in Woolwich in a big, squabbling, brawling Irish family. Went to a school where no one recognised his talents, knowing he was gay, I think, from a pretty early age, and then got swept up in this kind of half avant-garde, half pop scene, walking around dressed as a nun or flamboyant plastic clothes. And for him, it was all Bowie, right? He's got a tattoo of Bowie on his arm, as well as a tattoo of Susie from Susie and the Banshees, another one of Lee Bowery, and another, I think, of Mark Bolan. Anyway, so he's a real music and fashion obsessive, and I think all of that's really interesting. Plus, his first sexual experience at 15, it was just, he'll talk about whatever you ask him about in a very free and honest way, and he doesn't take any shit.
Oh, wow, that sounds great, man. I'm looking forward to hearing those.
It was fun doing them, a little bit stressful because of the technical side.
Uh-huh.
And I'm aware that I'm sort of pissing on your patch.
Quite right.
And using your microphone, if I can mix the metaphor, I'm pissing out of your microphone onto your leg and saying, okay, little doggy, it's time for the big doggies to play. Run along now.
Exactly.
Which is not an ideal position to be in with a close friend. But it's coronavirus time. We have to make a living.
Presumably some of those
So
people
go
that
fuck
you spoke
yourself,
to.
And the horse you rode in on.
I
Newsflash. You've had this stage to yourself for long enough. It's time for a real broadcaster to show you how to do it.
All right, fair enough. Well, here's an amateur broadcaster question. What was your criterion then for getting hold of the guests?
Great question. And
Thank
what
you.
was the concept of the podcast?
That's my other question.
Because it's supposed to be talking to you about your favorite food or your inspiration or conversations in a kitchen cupboard. It's all done in a cupboard. There's no gimmick. There's no concept. It's other than having a longish chat. And the criterion for guest was to try and have a mix that they should all be, I guess, I mean, it sounds very vague and bland, but people I was interested in, people who I felt there was something knotty to get into with. And they are all, in different respects, people who are happy to open up. None of them so far, touch wood, it will continue, has been resistant. In fact, with all of them, I found myself saying, it'll be about an hour to an hour and a half. And then at the 2-hour mark, thinking, I wonder if I'm taking the mick now.
Yeah.
The other thing, because I thought about you a lot while I was doing them, in the sense of how you approach your subjects. And I was aware that I also didn't want it to feel like a Desert Island Discs, right? Because there's a temptation, and Mark Maron does this as well, to start at the beginning and go somewhat chronologically towards the end, which I think in general you don't do.
No, I go too far the other way. Mine turn out like this. I just start talking, and then I forget all the things that I wanted to ask, and then it's just a meandering. I mean, that's where the whole rambling concept comes from.
But I think that's what's good about how you do it. With me, I haven't quite worked out whether it's one or the other. So I've been trying to jump in the middle, then go back for a bit, and then jump off. So I've been a touch of ramble, but a touch of chronological. But I'm occasionally guilty of kind of grinding into something and then just grinding, and then it gets a little bit heavy.
You go into reporter mode.
Yeah, I go into sort of psychotherapist reporter mode where I'm like, but I want to dig into this. What was it in you? Like with Miriam Margolis, I had it in my head that it must have been quite traumatic growing up with same-sex attraction, right? In that era, she was born in 1941, so in the 60s when homosexuality was outlawed, although only for men, not for women. But either way, I thought, well, that must be difficult when you grew up and you know that you are pre-Stonewall, you know you're attracted to people of the same sex. And she just sort of tossed that one aside, stepped over it. And then so I came back to it. I revisited it 4 or 5 times before I realised either it wasn't difficult or she wasn't interested in talking about it, but it was getting me nowhere.
Okay.
Get over it, Louis. Yeah, and then you're like, you're a lesbian. You're a lesbian human. Why are you a lesbian human? Like, I was sort of objectified, like a specimen under a glass.
Yeah.
It was a very kind of cis male gaze that I was applying. So you're gay, a lesbian gay woman who's attracted to people of the same sex. Is that correct? So when you see someone of the same sex, you feel aroused? You know, it's like, come on, Louis, get a grip. It's 2020.
But I think it's fair enough to expect the listeners to adjust to your point of view, to accept the fact that you are asking questions that interest you. You don't have to ask questions that are going to be entirely objective, that are going to represent absolutely everyone listening. There's no way you can.
Good point. And in fact, we were accused of, when we made a program about polyamory in Portland, and 1 or 2 of the contributors were not happy with it and said it was very, I don't know what they said, maybe heteronormative might have been the phrase. In other words, they were saying, like, you came at it from the approach of someone who's not polyamorous. That was their criticism. To which you can only say, like, yeah, that's because I'm not polyamorous, right? Yeah. And in fact, that was the view I was reflecting. And in a certain respect, that represents the view of the majority of the audience, which isn't to say that there's anything wrong with it, but that's where the questions are coming from.
Yeah.
So I think it's valid, isn't it? But then I found myself not panicking, but feeling my conversation with Miriam, because then I started, well, I wonder if I'm sort of erecting this fence between us. If she's the lesbian and I'm the straight. So then I began talking about same-sex attraction I'd experienced growing up, which I think I overdid it a bit. I said I had crushes on older boys growing up, which isn't really completely true. But anyway, it's all good.
Did you ever experiment? You never actually kissed anyone?
No. She said to me, I've never had a penis inside me. And I said, well, that's something we have in common. I've never had a male tongue inside me, other than my own.
Mm-hmm. I never kissed with tongues. I snogged a couple of boys experimentally and didn't enjoy it that much.
I don't even know if it's a snog. If the tongue's not
It has to be tongues.
I think a snog.
No,
Yeah,
look,
a snog.
If you go and kiss a girl on the lips as a heterosexual married man, that's not going to go down well with your partner. She's not going to be equivocating about, is it a snog or not?
I'm not sure if that's true. Depends. I know women friends who, when I kiss hello goodbye, they go for a mouth kiss.
Yeah, but that's a surprise when it happens. I mean, this is in the old days. You're not going to be doing any mouth kissing for the next year or two.
Corona, check.
Okay. Thanks so much for doing this, by the way, Lou.
Pleasure. It's nice to catch up. Congratulations again on your book.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it feels good to have at least got the audiobook out. Look, it's quite weird because the physical thing doesn't come out until the end of September, end of August maybe.
For the dinosaurs.
Yeah. I think I'm right in saying that it's the first time an audiobook has been released before the physical thing.
Once again, you're blazing a trail.
Yeah.
No one ever thought about doing this. Buxton wants to do what? That's impossible! It doesn't make any sense! We've talked to the guys on technical and they think we can do it. But how?
So that's what I've done. And there's a podcast at the end of it with me and Joe talking. And Joe did a certain amount of roasting of
He's thrown me under the bus again.
Does he roast you face to face?
Doesn't he roast everyone face to face in life?
Yeah, he does. And that's one of the things that we talked about. It was quite a satisfying conversation that I had with Joe, which you can hear at the end of the audiobook, because there was a couple of moments of genuine catharsis for me, of settling things that I'd been worrying about that I wrote about in the book and kind of left open-ended and sort of imagined that he would either ignore or I just assumed that he wouldn't process them. But he did, and we spoke about them, and it was quite good. I had an odd feeling of closure at the end of talking to him about it.
Well, what kind of things do you mean?
Things about our friendship and the kind of imbalance in our friendship. Not very specific. I mean, you know, it's not the kind of book that really is digging too deep into my relationships other than the one with my father, I suppose. I started getting into the whole power struggles that happen within a double act. You know, when you're working together and your friendship is suddenly switched to a different track and you get all these pressures that you'd never really considered before, or that maybe were operating in the background and suddenly they have to be dealt with. They're all right there in the foreground.
I thought Joe came across very well in your book, and at the same time, your affection for him and a very faint sense of you needing perhaps more from him at school, emotionally and in terms of recognition and affirmation that he was prepared to give. And that maybe he even was aware of that and played on it a little bit by saying, oh, we probably won't be friends, you know, after we leave or in 20 years or whatever it is. Which is, I think that is quite Joe-like. You know, we've joked about the fact that we both used the term aloof, but to describe Joe, and he picked up on that. But
haughty.
Haughty, that's right, haughty. But that part of Joe's haughtiness is a self-protection mechanism, right? And that he is, underneath, he's a very lovely guy. You know what I mean? Like he's actually an affectionate and thoughtful and vulnerable human, as we all are. Don't you think? You're laughing as though I've said something. You think I was going to say something mean and I pulled out of it, but I wasn't. I actually think that Joe is capable of extreme thoughtfulness and consideration. And sometimes when he thinks he's under attack, his haughty side comes out. What do you think about that?
Well, again, like all of us. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to give the game away.
Okay, fine.
You'll have to buy the audiobook to discover. But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And you've picked up on a couple of the things that were most important to me to convey or to explore a little bit.
And also to pick up one other thing, I think you are revealing in your book of your relationship, not just with Joe, but especially with your dad. And some of it is extremely powerful and affecting and raw. And what you say about him as he approached the end of his life, and then the revelations about his financial stresses and what he went through to raise and educate his children in the manner to which he felt they deserved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And privately educating you and then attempting to get loans from people. I mean, I thought the letter he wrote to John le Carre, a.k.a. David Cornwell, was amazing, like extraordinary, and must have been, I can only think, brutal and painful for him to have to send.
Yeah, he was so proud of being friends with John le Carre. You know what I mean? They were at university together. And Dad was older than him, but he just thought he was the bee's knees, especially when he turned out to be this successful writer. And yeah, when he got into financial stress, he was one of the people that my dad wrote to ask for a loan, quite a big loan. And yeah, I think he found it incredibly humiliating, as you would.
It was £50,000, right?
I think 40.
40? Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's different.
In olden money.
But can you imagine writing to someone, though, and sort of saying, "Dear Jim, please can you fix it for me?" Sorry. "Dear John, I find myself in the embarrassing situation of having to ask you for £40,000. Like, it's, I don't know, that would be tough.
My first thought when I read it was like, well, if I had lots of money and a friend of mine wrote to me,
asking for £40,000.
I think I would give it to them. I think my instinct would be like, yeah, if I can afford it, here you go. And it would be good if you paid me back, and don't take the piss, and understand that this is because you're my friend, blah, blah, blah. But you would want to do it.
I'm so glad you said that, because this is going to be so much easier now.
Yeah.
Not 40, though. It's 100,000.
Okay.
Have you got it?
Well, actually, I'm seeding the ground for my letter to you, which I was going to send in a couple of weeks.
What, you don't say in the book what he wanted the 40,000 for. Was it walks in the wine country?
No, it was to keep my brother at Haileybury. So this is the thing. It was my dad was all these humiliations that he experienced were for things that for most people in the world would not be considered important. It would be like, well, here's a solution to your problem. Don't send your children to a fucking private school, you maniac. You know, just get your head around the fact that there are all sorts of ways for a person to turn out to have a worthwhile life, and they don't all include going to a private school, you know.
I thought he in his letter, in his pitch to John le Carre, he had said, I'll be able to pay you back because I'm going to use that 40,000 and I'm starting, a tech company. I've got an idea for something called the World Wide Web. Or whatever it was. And that but if you write to someone and say, like, I want 40,000, dear John le Carre, please, can you send me £40,000 so I can keep sending my children to private school? How is that going to go well?
Well, he wasn't as explicit as that, because the thing was that he had used up all his money, his mortgage payments were in arrears, the bailiffs were knocking pretty much. But it was because he'd spent all his money and mortgaged the house to pay for our education. And so he'd got himself into that pickle, but he didn't explain that explicitly to le Carre. It was just like, look, I'm in trouble. I need this amount of money. And here is a scheme for how I will pay you back. And so over about 3 pages after the initial page of like, can I have some money, were all these ideas for how he was going to pay him back. One of them was, I'm going to write a book about wine. It's going to be great. I know all sorts of stuff about wine. I'm going to
Walks in the Wine Country. Yeah, I remember that.
A book that he eventually did get published, but it certainly didn't make him any money. And he had another idea about writing a book about boarding school, about prep schools, and all these sorts of schemes that he had that he thought were going to make him a load of cash.
Just parenthetically, on a tangent from that, one of the things that I remember from my childhood was that my dad occasionally would receive letters, because he's a travel writer, from students who are on their gap year or approaching their gap year and were trying to fund their sort of volunteer or charitable endeavours. Like, I want to go and work in an orphanage in Burma, or I'm going to travel around India and teach villagers how to irrigate their crops, whatever. So this is going back quite a few years, and once or twice he showed me the letters, and I sort of think, oh well, that seems fair enough. What are you going to do? And he would sort of look disbelieving and say, it would become clear that he was actually annoyed by the letters, and said, I think I'm going to write to their parents and say, do you realise I've just received a begging letter from your child? Like, the idea of him financing someone else's children deeply offended him. And I think because he was self-made, he'd grown up poor, in an immigrant family in Boston, and made his own money. And I think he thought that, and he just the whole idea of asking for a handout, if that's what it is, I mean, maybe that's unfairly characterizing it, but rubbed him the wrong way.
Absolutely. And it did for my dad too. One of his favourite sayings was, neither a borrower nor a lender be. Yeah. Is that it?
Yeah, neither a borrower nor a lender be. Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
where's
that's
that from?
Hamlet, I think.
From Hamlet, okay.
I think it's from Hamlet. I think Polonius. It's one of the fatuous phrases that he comes out with.
Well, my dad definitely believed in that, and I would characterise that as a sort of Tory-ish way of looking at the world, kind of get on your bike.
Yeah, self-reliant, I can do it, you can do it. You are sort of teaching an attitude of learned helplessness.
Right, if you sort of rely on handouts. I've got a terrible headache, and I am struggling to actually organise my thoughts. I'm sorry.
Do you want to take a Nurofen or something?
I might do. Yeah, I might do.
Yeah, do it.
Okay, hang on.
Take a couple.
I slept very badly last night. I had to get up 4 times to go and use the toilet. Every single time I woke up, I stared into the darkness and I hoped that perhaps I'd go back to sleep. But the BP pressure was too great, and after a while I would swing out my legs and my body would follow, stumbling off to the toilet. I don't stand at night for number 1 fun, but sit instead till the transfer is done. Depress the chap so he doesn't spring out and cause the jet to fly all about.
Delicious. Are you stressed in general?
In general.
Do you have stress?
Maybe a little.
I just headache.
Maybe. I don't know. I slept incredibly badly last night, and I woke up feeling really rough and thinking, fuck, what's that? Is that COVID? It can't be COVID. I haven't been anywhere. I've just, I've received a few packages and there's been a couple of delivery people, but how could I have got COVID? I've been here for 4 weeks. And then I thought, oh, well, if it's not that, then what is it? Something incipient and terminal. So I'm in that kind of frame of mind.
It's probably the final straight. You've had a good run. We're middle-aged men coming down the home stretch.
Listen, if I was... This is obviously glib, by the way. If I was diagnosed tomorrow with something terminal, I'd be fine with it. I've had a great time and been luckier than most, and I've certainly got nothing to complain about.
That's very glib.
It's glib.
In the midst of a pandemic, you've got a strange sense of humour, young man.
Obviously, it's more than glib. It's super glib. It's a new glib plus. The most powerful glib yet.
Glib, new improved formula for even more glibness.
Extra strength glib. Someone was saying the other day, one of the weird side effects of the whole pandemic has been, for some catastrophists and for some people who are kind of paranoid and afraid of all sorts of things in the world, that they now feel a sense of calm because the worst has happened.
John Ronson was saying something like this.
I mean, it's not the worst, is it? There's loads of ways that it could be worse, even. But it's not ideal, and it's pretty bad, and it's the kind of thing that people who worry about things in the world might have imagined before. And now here it is. And surprise, surprise, everyone kind of adapts. Not everyone, and it's certainly worse for some people than it is for others.
Are you still using your glib, or maybe you should turn it off now?
Oh, no, I wasn't using glib. That was old glib. That's not new extra strength.
The old glib was quite powerful because there's a lot of people who are not adapting and dying.
That's what I thought. I covered that. I said not everyone. I didn't want to really go too hard on the not adapting and dying. Speaking of that, along that sort of line, someone was saying, oh, there's people tweeting, like, stop calling frontline workers heroes. Stop calling the people who work in shops or make deliveries heroes. They're people doing jobs that aren't properly paid, that they don't want to be doing, and they don't want to be on the front line, and they don't appreciate being called heroes when they don't have any choice in the matter.
That's interesting.
That's like, fucking hell. I don't think anyone was trying to be mean.
I hadn't seen that. I do think that with everything going on, like, there's certain tropes that become irritating. And one of them is, well, look, the crisis brings out the best in us. You hear that on Radio 4 at least a couple of times a day. And I'm not really sure if it's certainly not true across the board. In some ways it does, in some ways it doesn't. I think it brings out, in certain respects, the truth in us. You know, there's people who are pitching in and helping and doing a lot, and then I think there's other people who aren't doing much, and people capitalizing on it in different ways, or fraudsters trying to make money out of it. And
yeah, have you noticed that there are a lot more twattish ads online, and especially on YouTube, like for all kinds of really ridiculous products popping up in front of videos?
Is this the segue into you buying a mouth exerciser?
Yes. That was incredibly smooth, though, that segue. It was absolutely, it could have been seamless, and then you called it out because you couldn't just let it sit there. You couldn't let me have that moment of doing the fucking smoothest segue, seamless segue into a thing that you knew I was going to talk about. I thought, no, I'm going to just call that out.
I did. But that was like me kind of saying, bravo, you know, underlay. I was just noting the suavete that you were displaying. Go on, tell us about your mouth exerciser.
I bought a mouth exerciser. That's the end of that.
How about this? Oh, what kind of thing do you mean?
There you go. Here's what I was imagining. I was thinking you were going to go, yeah, you're right. And then you could have given me a couple of examples.
I only know I haven't seen any other than the mouth exerciser. That's the only one I've seen.
Have you not seen Magic Teeth?
No. What's that?
There's a big long ad for this product called Magic Teeth, and it has all these people grinning at the camera, and there's some problem with their teeth. Either they've been knocked out or they're very badly decayed. And so with Magic Teeth, that needn't be a problem. But Magic Teeth are just like sort of plastic teeth, really white teeth.
Like Halloween teeth that you would just stick in your mouth.
Exactly.
Are you serious?
But then the other ad I saw, have you seen this one, is for Jawzrsize, Jawzr size.
Which I love that, because it's a pun on jazzercise,
right?
Which is already a portmanteau word of dubious construction. And the ad, if you saw the same one, it's a bald guy who looks a bit like Michael Chiklis.
Yes.
Saying, I saw this and I thought it looked kind of weird, but then I tried it. Like, so he acknowledges, I look like a complete goofball doing this.
Yeah.
But wait.
But everyone is employing that strategy with all their crappy ads at the moment. Like, there's people doing ads for selling at home. You sell Amazon products and stuff, and you can make thousands and thousands. And they're all scams of one kind or another. But they all begin with like, I know it looks like a load of bullshit, but it's true. And I made thousands and you can too. And anyway, so they do that with Jaws-a-Size a little bit. So Jaws-a-Size, if you haven't seen the ad, it's a kind of rubber ring. And you stick it in your mouth, and it comes with a couple of little bite strips.
It looks, what's it called, squid, when you get it as a...
calamari.
It looks like a really hard piece of calamari.
Yeah, blue calamari.
And you're putting it between your teeth to upper and lower mandibles.
Yes.
And you chew away on it.
Chew away on it. It's got 20 to 50 pounds of resistance.
However much that is, that means nothing to me, right? How much resistance do you get from a normal piece of calamari? Not even 5 pounds. This specially created calamari from squid, available only in certain parts of the Mediterranean.
With regular calamari, you can only expect 5 to 7 pounds of resistance. And generally, they will only come in one color, a dispiriting white.
And it rejuvenates your chin and your...
It chisels and sculpts the jawline for the best look ever. It's fitness for your face. Aloha, that's what the ad says.
But did you say that you'd actually ordered one of these?
Yes, so I bought one.
Have you got one there with you?
No, I don't have it yet. It's being delivered from America.
Is there any medical foundation for it?
Well, I'm glad you asked me because I'm fully qualified to answer that question. And I would say no. I mean, there can't be, can there? Because, I mean, did your parents ever used to do this? Like my mum, I remember in the 80s or the late 70s, would sometimes do these weird exercises with her jaw, and she would sort of pat underneath her jaw and sort of slap her face and stuff. And I'd go, Mummy, why are you doing that? And she'd read in Cosmopolitan or something. It was the back then version of the fucking Jaws-a-Size. You know what I mean? It's just a total scam, surely. That's not...
I would think so, because in fact your jowls droop in middle age, not really so much because the muscles are any weaker. It's just your skin is becoming more slack, I would have thought. So all the chewing on calamari or rubber balls in the world is not going to tighten up the skin.
Yeah, well, we'll find out.
Plus, you've got a beard, so no one knows what's going on underneath your beard anyway.
Now, that's why I've got a beard. Once my face is transformed by the Jaws-a-Sizer, I will shave the beard off and I will show off the incredibly ripped face underneath.
Right. You'll be able to flex different parts of your chin and lower cheeks.
I'll be doing expressions that no one has ever seen me do before. And I'll probably get a lot more acting work out of it. It's all very exciting. But now I want to know if there is a way to, like where's the exercise equipment for your hair? How do I bulk up my testicles? There's so many other exercise products that I would buy.
Or just make your testicles less droopy.
Exactly. People must have vanity surgery on their nutsack.
The muscle that causes your testicles to go up and down is called the... Do you know this?
No.
The cremaster. I don't even know how you say it.
Cremaster, yeah.
Because Matthew Barney...
That's right.
The artist...
Used to be married to Bjork.
Who was married to Bjork, made an entire sort of 20-hour movie cycle of about 5 or 6 different films called the Cremaster cycle, right?
Yeah.
It was all about that muscle.
Didn't we go and see that at the BFI?
I never saw it. I've never seen it.
Maybe I went to see that with Joe, or at the ICA or something we saw it, and I just like, what the fuck am I doing watching this?
Was it good?
No, it wasn't good. Of course it wasn't good. It was so boring. It was an art film.
You know he's a big fan of your podcast.
He's welcome on any time.
To talk about how shit his film is.
No, I didn't say... Did I say it was shit? I didn't say it was shit.
You said, no, it wasn't good. It was so boring.
Yeah, I stand by the boring part. I suppose I meant good in the sense of like... If you go and see a regular film, is it good? No, it wasn't all the things... I love
how you're walking this back now.
It was.
I want to see how you get out of this particular box that you find yourself in.
It wasn't all the things that you would want normally from a trip to the cinema, i.e. excitement, some kind of relatable characters and story, any sort of interesting experience whatsoever. Actually, that's not true, because it was interesting, like the level of technical expertise. There was incredible makeup.
The stills from it make it look amazing. He's sort of dressed up as the Greek god Pan, right? You know, he's kind of in a goat suit.
Yeah.
Looking sort of quite cool.
Looking really cool, with quite good prosthetics, like state-of-the-art prosthetics at the time, giving him a weird snout and strange ears and things like that. So it was all incredibly beautifully put together. It didn't look... Usually what differentiates kind of art films from mainstream films is the production values, because there isn't the budget available. But he had found a way of making it look as if it was made to the standards of your average mainstream feature film. So that in itself was quite weird and unsettling. So I guess a success on that level. But then once you got beyond it, you sort of, I don't know, were bored. But maybe I just didn't understand it, or I didn't know what to think about. I didn't know how to occupy my mind while I was watching it.
Well, what you could have been doing, which is what I'm doing now, is flexing your cremaster. Because that's an exercise you can actually do sitting down.
To tighten up your nutsack.
And you don't even need a blue piece of calamari to do that. You can just do that anywhere, any place.
I'm doing it now.
Are you doing it?
Yeah. But that's not the same as women exercising their pelvic floor muscles, is it, for example?
I think it's our version, isn't it? I think that's what we do as men, and they would do the same thing.
No, because for women, pelvic floor exercises, as far as I'm aware, I don't know exactly what I'm talking about, give them a greater degree of control down there, which can be useful for all sorts of reasons. But exercising...
Picking up loose change.
Exactly.
When you're carrying 2 cups of tea and then you see a piece of Lego and you're like, oh, okay. Oh, I know what I can do. Yes, it is very useful, which men can't do.
Anyway, well, to get it back to the cremaster, which we're okay to talk about, I don't think that a strong cremaster would serve any practical purpose whatsoever, would it?
Well, unless you were sort of flying through the air and there was like a knife and you were having to clear, like a long jumper or a hurdler, and you were having to get over and your balls were slightly lower. You lifted your legs like a hurdler to get over, but your balls were hanging slightly lower, right? Yeah. And then you're like, holy shit, my balls are too low, they're going to get sliced. That's when your cremaster comes into play.
You can lift them a little bit.
You can just lift them up that 0.5 centimetre.
Yeah.
You know when they come into use is situations of extreme physical exertion, right, where your body says, okay, tighten up, guys, this is intense. We need to pull everything extraneous in because, you know, something we need to be in our kind of game mode, or we're on a war footing, and nothing can dangle, nothing should be flopping.
That happens automatically, though.
High and tight.
Because when you go into the sea and it's cold...
It does if they've been worked properly.
But I don't think that's the cremaster doing that, though, is it? That's just the skin contracting and turning it into a hard...
Walnut. Of intense, leathery protection. This is getting quite X-rated. Like...
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's my fault, as usual.
No. No, thank you. No. No.
I'm going to ask you some lockdown questions, all right? I don't think anyone else is doing this.
It's a good point. This pandemic that everyone's ignoring,
yeah,
and that you're not hearing about on the radio, about how our lives will never be the same again.
I'm just going to come out and talk
the news.
About it. Yeah.
Will we be using new improved glib?
For this?
Yeah.
You can if you want. It's always there as an option.
All right. I'm going to see how it goes.
My MO is to use both. I'll use a little squirt of glib and then I'll wipe it off and use a bit of Sincerosol.
Some people, it's like Coke. Some people prefer old Coke. Like, in fact, probably more people. Like, in fact, the launch of new improved glib maybe one of those things that goes down as a marketing disaster.
Cherry glib.
Like, what a strange decision to launch new improved glib during a pandemic of all times when you didn't need added glibness. Surely it's madness. It's a marketing nightmare.
Yeah, but I would argue that times of stress are when you need a bit of humorous glib. Anyway, look, here we go. So generally, COVID news-wise, how on top of the situation are you staying? Like, do you know what the ins and outs of the lack of PPE in the UK are? Do you know about when we might be getting out of the lockdown? How up are you on all your info?
I would say a medium. I've not been listening to the news. I don't watch the news on TV. I have the radio on through the day, so I'm dipping in and out. I'm not across the hard data. Last time I checked, which was I think 3 or 4 days ago, I think I read that in Europe there were 1 million cases and 100,000 deaths. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I know I haven't been watching the TV news as often as I would normally. I think because we're watching more TV and films as a family, and so we don't tune in for news at 10 as often as we would.
I haven't watched the news, the TV news, for years, or I hadn't, I should say. And then last week, because of everything that was going on, I thought, well, maybe we should watch the news. And it felt a bit like pulling out a gramophone and cranking it up. You know, it felt like, oh, yeah, remember this? We just don't watch much sort of, what do they even call it? Narrative or linear TV. The kids are constantly either watching streaming platforms or we're catching up on iPlayer. TV very rarely goes on in the ordinary way in our house. But I sometimes think about you and your homestead, and without giving away too much and destroying the mystique that you've worked so hard to cultivate over the years, you've got a lovely house, plenty of space for the family, and you can toddle off and do your own thing. You've got a kind of a studio, and in many ways you were on lockdown, not lockdown, but you've been leading your own life away from civilization while making obviously forays out into the world for years. Like, you feel eminently well equipped to deal with lockdown. Does it feel that way to you?
Yes, I suppose. My average day is not that different. Before COVID, I'd get to go to London every week or two and talk to some people for the podcast, maybe go and do a show here and there. But actually, while I was at home, I could just not see anyone for weeks. And it was fine. I didn't mind it. I liked being at home.
You've got a beautiful house. I hope you don't mind me telling your listeners that it's a beautiful house, that you don't lock the doors that often, and you're away, usually in August, with many valuable paintings, heirlooms, silverware in the kitchen on the left as you come in. In a zombie apocalypse film, yours would be the house, or the home, I should say, which you would really want to hijack and hole up in.
Yeah.
Right? Because you've got plenty of room to run around in. You could probably grow some vegetables and stuff.
We are growing vegetables. We started growing vegetables. Yeah. We're moving towards some level of self-sufficiency and trying to embrace a life more in harmony with nature. I mean, so far it's going very slowly and we're in very early stages. But yeah, I mean, well, we're lucky is what it comes down to, I guess.
It's a difficult thing to talk about because so many people are suffering so much.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, exactly.
The parts of it that you take away from this that are positive have to be contextualized. But the truth is, there are parts of it that I've taken pleasure in, a kind of simplification of the routine and cooking more, just being around the clock at home, taking satisfaction in just making the 3 meals a day, and I don't know, just taking care of the kids, really, making the house, sweeping, cleaning, all that stuff. Simple pleasures.
Simple pleasures, right. But they are rewarding, though, don't you find?
Yeah.
Well, one of the last times that we spoke on the podcast, do you remember this? We were thinking about, like, if you were on your deathbed, how would you look back on the way that you spent your time? And I described the kind of thing that makes me feel I've had a good day. And it was something like, you know, playing 10 minutes of Bomberman with my children or something. And you, like, with a squirt of glib, said, God, that sounds boring. You said something like, aren't you bored even just saying that?
Gosh, I don't remember that. What an asshole I am.
No. It was funny. But it did make me think, like, God, you know, what constitutes a worthwhile life is really not the same for everybody. And I suppose the dominant voice on Radio 4 at the moment, perhaps, is that one of saying, you know, let's take pleasure in the simple things in life. Let's remind ourselves of what's really important. Let's appreciate the fact that a lot of our struggles and a lot of the things that worry us, perhaps in the grand scheme of things, are not that important. Everyone is so focused on, like, getting ahead and doing better than everybody else and being a success. And you can forget to ask the question, but why? What's at the end of all this? You know what I mean?
I do, 100%. And in fact, I don't know if this is a forced analogy, but we were watching the first season of, is it called The Island? The survival show that has Bear Grylls on it. We've talked about this.
Yeah. I was going to go on The Island.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that. I wasn't sure if we were allowed to say that. But what's amazing about that's sort of the lockdown existence time 100, right? Because they have to forage all their own food. And you just see how when things are stripped away, you take inordinate pleasure in survival. Just starting a fire or finding some honey is an almost ecstatic experience. And so I think we've had those small compensations that can be extracted from the pandemic and from lockdown are to do with that, the feeling that simple things become maybe more satisfying.
And have you had an experience like that with your family in the last 4 weeks where you've just caught yourself thinking, hey, look, this is as fun and as rewarding as any of the things that previously I might have considered fun and rewarding in a career context, winning awards, meeting my heroes, whatever it might be, doing a great documentary?
There's two things to say on that. One is, I mean, I don't know how to compare it, but I've definitely felt close to my family, and I've enjoyed being around the kids and seeing them and seeing the ways in which the two older boys, who are teenagers, have, for the most part, adapted and been pretty responsible about doing their lessons and embraced the strange situation they find themselves in. You know, while keeping up with friends, they sort of play video games in order to socialize and talk to one another through headsets or through their phones. So that's how they socialize. And then the rest of the time, you know, we do stuff as a family. And then the little one, who's only 5, he's been the one that's demanded the most time. And insofar as we've had challenges domestically, it's been trying to get work done, but also have a 5-year-old who really needs someone there with him most of the time. But when you commit to being with him, you sort of say, do you know what? I'm actually not going to try and work. I'm just going to spend 2 or 3 hours and we will do some craft stuff or jump on the trampoline or go out and do some colouring or whatever it is. Then I think it is very fulfilling. But that being said, when we got back into work in earnest, when I started taping these podcasts, I had this enormous feeling of relief.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe enormous is too strong, but I did afterwards. I thought, oh wow, that's what that feels like. Even though it was only 2 or 3 weeks of doing nothing, not working in the normal way, it felt like quite a long time. Like I suppose it says something sad about me that I felt that I do seem to need that sort of whether it's self-expression or just being busy in a certain way or using those muscles that are brought into service to do interviews or to make programs. Or I had it because I wrote a longish article for the Sunday Times about Joe Exotic and the Tiger King, the program, and doing that, I felt the same feeling of release or just a kind of little endorphin dump of having been a little bit creative or productive.
No, I know what you're saying. I didn't read your Joe Exotic article.
It was behind a paywall.
Ah, right, there you go. Can you extract some of the fun nuggets of the article from behind the paywall?
Oh, I think really all it was just sort of basically putting my flag down and saying like, oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, I knew Joe Exotic before he was famous on Netflix. I spent a week with him in 2011. He had 2 boyfriends then as well, and one was John Finlay, the guy with no teeth or very jagged, certainly he could maybe benefit from, what are the teeth called? Just plastic teeth?
Magic teeth.
Magic teeth. He'd be a great candidate. He actually seems to have magic teeth now. Back then, he had non-magic. He had muggle teeth. Harry Potter joke. But there was a different other boyfriend. The other third leg of their relationship was someone else. I can't even remember his name that clearly. Anyway, I don't know that there was much of a scoop in it, except that Joe was more or less, as you see him on the Netflix show, obsessed with Carol Baskin, told me that he thought Carol Baskin had murdered her husband and fed him to the tigers. And what else is there to say, really? And also mistreating the animals. Basically, you could see that the animals, more than the tigers, the primates and bears especially, seemed to be going out of their minds behind bars.
Yeah. And the other guy you spoke to, because this was a show you did called America's Most Dangerous Pets, and the other guy you spoke to was Tim Stark.
Tim Stark. He was the one who actually let loose a baboon called Tatiana, who clambered onto me.
Yes.
And then Tim encouraged Tatiana to give me a kiss. And she sort of, the first thing I'm supposed to say about the baboon is, like other baboons I've seen at zoos, Tatiana seemed to have a very protuberant rear end. Is that because she was in heat, or are baboons' bums always like that?
A lot of them are like that, aren't they? It's like the most extreme case of hemorrhoids you've ever seen in your life.
Extraordinary, like an enormous kind of donut of monkey leather. And so you're obviously thinking like, okay, I'm going to try not to touch Tatiana's hind quarters because that's going to feel really odd. And then Tatiana extended a kiss, and I genuinely had the impression that there was some sort of primate-to-primate connection. Tatiana had taken a shine to me, because I'd had a lot of worries about being attacked by either a monkey or a baboon.
There were moments in the show where you looked genuinely frightened.
Because I'd read so much about chimpanzee attacks, and when a chimpanzee goes for you, it's game over. They are, depending on what you read, either 5 to 10 times as powerful as an adult human male, and will typically either rip off your face, rip off your nose, or rip off your genitals. None of which I was particularly excited about happening, right?
Right, it doesn't seem good.
But Tatiana, instead of that, it became a kind of, instead of aggression, what I felt was a sort of erotic energy, but I did not actually snog her.
But how did you feel about Joe Exotic? Because there wasn't too much of an implication in the film that he was trouble. I mean, I suppose there was certainly a suggestion that this was not an ideal environment for the animals, and some of his ideas about, wouldn't it be great if tigers and bears coexisted, because that would be an inspiring message.
Tigers and bears. I was like, why would you have tigers and bears in a cage together? To show people how, if they can get along, we can all get along. A great message for kids. We can all just get along with each other. And you're like, okay.
Do you think when people like Joe Exotic are saying things like that, do you think that it's total bullshit, that they're just feeding you a line and it's just like, I'm just going to say this because it sounds fun? Or do you think they genuinely believe that?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think there's definitely, part of it is a marketing spiel. And I think at some level he slightly believes it. It's probably more bullshit than sort of sincere. Because one of the things that I noticed about Joe, and that was a challenge at the time, was he'd get lost in his own bullshit. Like he would say things I knew he didn't really believe. If you said like, well, wouldn't the tigers be better off not in tiny cages, or wouldn't you just be better working on saving natural habitats together? Well, there's people working on that. Like, he would just sort of palm that off. Or you would say, I remember saying to him, why are you breeding more animals? More tigers? Because it's one thing to save tigers that are already in cages owned by people who can't handle it. And you're like, okay, I'll take your tigers and we'll let them live out their days over here. But Joe was breeding. He was bringing new lives into existence. He was doing that because for the first few months of a tiger's life, they're harmless enough to be sat down with children for photographs, and people will pay a lot of money for that. So that was one of his few guaranteed ways of making money. So I said to him, why are you breeding tigers, expecting that he was going to say that. And he said, so that when all the tigers are dead in the wild, we can repopulate the wild. And I remember thinking, like, that's not even your message. Like, did you not read your own publicity material? It was one of those weird things where you're with a contributor and you just think, like, dude, get on your brief. That's not even the lie that you're supposed to tell. The lie you're supposed to tell is a different lie. You know, that doesn't make... No one thinks that you can release tigers raised in captivity back into the wild. They can't survive. You are saying something completely nonsensical, and it's sort of detrimental to the documentary that we have a spokesperson for this practice who can't even remember his own lines. You know what I mean?
And also, he's just been telling you as well that if someone came to try and shut the zoo down, he would execute all the animals.
Which, by the way, would make more sense than saying we can release them back into captivity.
That's the thing about the show, about Tiger King, that I think a lot of people have said, is that it's just grim. Like when people started talking about the show initially, a couple of weeks back, when it became clear that we were going to be in lockdown and people wanted to watch stuff and binge on box sets or whatever, and they said, oh, you've got to see the Tiger King, it's crazy, these crazy characters, and it's funny and hilarious. And actually, even by the end of the first episode, which is as far as I got, it's like, this isn't funny or hilarious at all. It's depressing and grim. And all the main characters are, in one way or another, a disaster area, really.
And the animals are adjuncts to a human menagerie of sort of misbehavior and folly and ridiculousness. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it. You know, Chris Smith, our mutual friend, exec'd it. And
I did know
was
that.
instrumental in putting it together. And I think they did a great job of organising a massive kind of complex and chaotic material. And there's moments of extraordinary power. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, there's a person who dies about halfway through or 2/3 of the way through. Did you make it that far?
No, but I've read about that.
It blindsides you. And the person's mum talks about it, and the other contributors are all react in different ways. And I thought that was really shocking. That was the thing. There were lots of things I didn't know in it, but that was the part that really blindsided me and shocked me.
Hey, everybody in the modern time, they got to get themselves a podcast. I will do yours and you'll do mine.
We're sorting out the problems of the world so fast.
One of the rewards that has come out of this lockdown period for me as a father is spending some time with my teenage boys and really bonding with them about music, which is something I always fantasized about fatherhood-wise. I always thought, oh, God, I can't wait to enthuse with them about some of the music I love. And now that's actually come true, and we've had a lot of sessions where after we eat together in the evening, we'll sit around and we'll use Spotify and DJ to each other. You know, we'll say, have you heard this? I'll play them some Orbital track and they'll play me something by, you know, Thundercat or whoever it might be. And it's been really enjoyable. And my 15-year-old has suddenly got into the Beatles. So most of the time he's pretty grumpy and monosyllabic, I hope he wouldn't mind me saying. But in the moments where he does get more chatty, he'll just suddenly light up and say, oh yeah, I've been listening to a lot of the Beatles. They're pretty good, aren't they? I'm like, yeah, they are good. And it takes me back to kind of discovering the Beatles, which I didn't do until at the very end of my teens. What about you? Were you always into them?
Well, I was about 12 when I went through a big Beatles phase.
Right.
But I say that big, but my parents had the Red album, which I listened to, you know, as like 10, 11, 12. So that was always part of the soundtrack of the house, which was a Love Me Do and Michelle and things like that. And then when I was about 12, I got the blue one, and then it blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, I didn't know the Beatles did things like this. And we also had Sgt. Pepper in the house.
So Blue compilation has got I Am the Walrus and stuff like that, does it?
It's got all the, I guess, singles and the hits from 66 to 70, I would say. Yeah, I Am the Walrus, Here, There and Everywhere, and Come Together. And then I think around the same time, maybe my brother brought home Abbey Road.
Oh, yeah.
When I was about 12, because he was 2 years older.
Uh-huh.
And so that was my key Beatles phase.
My mum used to listen to the Beatles when I was growing up a little bit, when she was round with friends. So to me, it just sounded like, oh, well, this is my parents' music. This is boring. And I kind of ignored it. I just discounted it for years and years. And not until I was about 17 or 18 did I start listening to them, and then thought, oh, okay, right, I get it.
I think I did get it. I do remember when my brother brought Abbey Road home and put it on, and I was like, what's this? And that for the first track, well, one of the tracks, I don't know if it's the first one, but the I Want You, She's So Heavy, which is just this whole heavy guitar arpeggio.
Oh, man.
And
it's amazing.
It's a great track, but I remember thinking like it sounded a shade more metally or aggressive than I was used to.
Yeah.
And it's more primal somehow, and feeling a little bit like, oh, hang on, what's this? But then quite quickly I got down with it. And then it was about 2 years later that I got the White Album. So I suppose it took a little while to go all the way with all of it.
I Want You, She's So Heavy is the song that got my son into the rest of them, because I played it to before the lockdown. I went to pick him up from school one day, and on the way back I stuck it on and I said, have you ever heard this? And it was a really great moment. He was sort of staring out of the window and not being too chatty, and I couldn't tell if it was because he was bored or just thought that I was a dick, or I don't know, any number of options. And then we got home and parked just as it was finishing. Down, 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 down. And if you know that track, it's fucking epic, and it just gets madder and madder and bigger and darker. And it's a sort of wall, a wash of feedback that starts building up. I mean, it's really elemental. And then suddenly it just goes and ends, like the tapes run out or something. And my son just sort of turned around and he was like, wow, fucking hell.
Really? That's great.
Yeah, it was an extraordinary moment. I loved it. Anyway, so after a few days of him getting into the Beatles, I said, well, let's watch Gimme Some Truth, which is the documentary about Lennon making Imagine in 1971, I think. And have you seen that doc?
No.
It's quite good. I'm semi-obsessed with Lennon. Like, I go through phases of being really, really fascinated by him and watching a lot of stuff about him. Do you ever go through those?
My love for the Beatles has been a consistent background note, from when I was 12 onwards. But I've never I never read The Lives of John Lennon by Albert Goldman. And although I dipped into it, I did read Revolution in the Head.
Oh, yeah, Ian McDonald's book.
The song-by-song deconstruction.
Yeah, it's great.
So I've never gone full sort of obsessive fan as I have, say, maybe with The Doors or with Prince at one time, or with, rap in the early 90s. So I don't think there's a lot about Lennon that I still probably wouldn't know.
He's really a fascinating character. So many kind of strange contradictions and... Anyway, he's good value, very good. Like, one of the amazing things about him was that he genuinely didn't seem to have much of a filter. He would genuinely say whatever he wanted. And you couldn't imagine him ever sort of turning around to a guy after doing an interview and saying, oh, actually, do you mind losing that bit that I said about so-and-so? He couldn't give a fuck. And I'm I suppose I'm so the opposite, that I find that fascinating. And also, it scares me, the idea of actually knowing someone like that. And what would it be like? Like, for example, I've always been hung up about How Do You Sleep? You know that song?
Yes, the one that you wrote about Paul McCartney.
Yeah, right. So this is, I'm semi-obsessed with this and keep crapping on about it. But I just think, how could you write a song like that about your friend, about this guy you were in a band with? So to give it some context, if people don't know the song, it was Lennon's riposte to this song that was on Paul McCartney's album Ram from 1971, and McCartney wrote this song Too Many People, and some of it seemed to be a little bit of a dig at John and Yoko, who were in that phase of campaigning for peace by staying in bed and holding press conferences in bed and in bags. And
is there a salient lyric in that one that was construed as barbed?
I think the line is too many people preaching practices. So literally that was it. Oh, and there's another line that says, you took your lucky break and broke it in two. So those are the two lines that could possibly be about John Lennon, right? But John Lennon obviously listened to it and thought, fuck you, that's about me, fuck you, Paul McCartney, and then writes this really long, mad song called How Do You Sleep, just taking him down in 4 verses or something.
And there's no ambiguity because he references lyrics. It's coded only in as much as Paul's not named, but there's yesterday is referenced and just another day is referenced and so on.
That's right. The only thing you done was yesterday, and since you've gone, you're just another day. And you live with straights who tell you was king. Jump when your mama tell you anything. I mean, fucking hell, that's hardcore.
But I think at that point he probably hated Paul, didn't he?
Yeah, the sound you make is music to my ears. Ooh. But afterwards, he always sort of said, oh no, it was just Bants. Paul was fine with it.
Yeah, I love how in Beatles lore, there's certain things that always come up. That's one. Another one is that when John died, Paul was asked how he felt, and he said, yeah, it's a drag. And then he walked that back.
Right.
And I think he didn't mean anything horrible by it. It just came out wrong.
Right, but I always felt bad for McCartney because you would think something like that happens. How are you able to express the extent of all the confusion of feelings? And someone sticks a mic in your face and you just say, it's a drag.
It's not brilliant phrasing. The messaging is not ideal.
No, you're right. It's not candle in the wind. Anyway, look, to wrap things up, I have emailed you an audio file, which is a very exciting discovery that came to light a few years ago. It's an earlier version of How Do You Sleep with even more pointed lyrics.
This is quite a big discovery.
It was a massive discovery. I can't believe you didn't hear about it. It came to light in 2017. They were remastering the Gimme Some Truth doc for what would have been Lennon's 70th birthday. And they found this take with these lyrics that are going to blow your mind.
Are we going to listen to it?
What do you think?
I do not think the cheesy music you make is good. If Stevie Wonder asked you to do a song comparing race relations to a piano keyboard, I bet you would. Some people think your eyes are like those of a sweet puppy dog, but to me they just look like 2 giant piles of shit. Paul McCartney, I'm upset so I'm lashing out at you. Oh, Paul McCartney hurt my feelings, so I'm trying to hurt Paul McCartney's too.
So there you go.
That's amazing. That actually is kind of an astonishing little piece of musical history.
Yes.
Do you think it's definitely about Paul?
Wait. Continue.
Hey, welcome back, Podcats. Thanks very much indeed to Louis. I'm very grateful to Lou for his time. I'm also very grateful to Gear for Music, an online music equipment store that I've been using recently for my podcasting needs, and it has served me very well. I told them I'd give them a shout out because they've been helping me find the right gear for another podcast project that I've been involved with a charity that I'll say more about if and when it all comes together. But Gear for Music have also been, I know, helping out other podcasters working for charities and for various good causes. If you're involved in getting a podcast together, or you're a musician or whatever, then I would really recommend their site. They're friendly and efficient, and they've got like loads of stuff.
There's a link in the description, should you wish to check them out. What else? I'm going to wrap it up fairly quickly this week because I've got to get back. I have a Zoom call with a future lockdown guest on the podcast. Hope you're doing all right out there. I've noticed that certain gigs that have been cancelled during the summer are starting to be rescheduled for later in the year, October and November. I don't know what's happening about my book tour. Obviously everything is still so up in the air. People don't exactly know what the exit from the lockdown is going to look like and what form it will take. It may be that I don't actually get out and about on tour until early next year. I'm not sure. I will keep you posted when I know anything. My website is currently being overhauled, but I hope it's going to be ready in a new form, more easily maintainable form, so I might actually keep it somewhat updated in the next few weeks, but I'll let you know about that too. So this is valuable waffle, isn't it? Here's a load of stuff that may or may not be happening, and I'm not sure when. Thanks very much, Buckles. You're welcome. Thank you very much indeed, once again, to Louis for his time. Thanks to Seamus Murphy Mitchell for his invaluable production support on this episode. Thanks to Matt Lamont, as always, for his superb edit whiz-bottery. Thanks to all the folks at Acast for their continued support of this podcast. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you're doing all right. And until next time we meet, take excellent care. For what it's worth, and I hope this isn't going to creep you out, but, well, I love you. Bye!
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. Give me a little smile and a thumbs up. Nice take a pat with my thumbs up.